So, hello my friends, Devaun Lennox here, PhotographyPX. In today's video, we'll cover the top 10 best camera for beginners. Do know you can find timestamps and links in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment. And also know this is not a sponsored video. Let's get started. Do you desire better photos? Well, today's smartphones are indeed capable of the job and have certainly evolved in recent years. And with their current camera technology, we are now at a point where virtually anyone can become a competent photographer. Plus, given their convenience, it makes sense most opt to use them, and they're the only tool of choice for most budding photographers, especially when compared to dealing with the hassle of a larger and more complicated camera. But smartphones alone only offer a point-and-shoot experience, which disconnects you from the moment. And since they lack any necessary skill or technique, many never truly harness their photographic creativity and style. Not to mention, they also have limitations in design, ergonomics, features, and are lackluster in image quality. And ultimately, these become the reasons people eventually desire a more capable photographic platform. Now, whether you're desiring to hone your current skills or wanting an upgrade in image quality, getting your first camera matters. And while shooting on a smartphone may have been the gateway until now, if you're ready to take things up a step further, this is the ideal way to do so. But you'll quickly realize that buying your first camera is quite a daunting experience, particularly so given the current market. And there's seemingly endless factors to consider and an overwhelming amount of options. Thankfully, you're at least on the right track and in a much better starting place than where we first started. In this post, we've compiled a diverse and detailed guide on beginners' cameras, which you can find in the pinned comment in the description down below. This particular guide is very comprehensive, so I would suggest reading that if you're a beginner looking for some of the factors mentioned in the guide. We'll also explore the various types of cameras available, give you insight into each, and also cover the top 10 best cameras for beginners. I do want to say this list is quite diverse and includes both mirrorless and DSLR cameras to serve a broader audience. But on with the top 10. Coming in at number 10, Panasonic's G100. Panasonic's G100 is their latest mid-range camera and one they've designed specifically with vloggers in mind. Released in 2020, it features a 20 megapixel sensor, the Venus engine processor, 4K 30 frames per second video, 1080p 120 frames per second video, a fully articulating touchscreen, HDR, stop motion, focus stacking, time-lapse, hybrid stabilization, 4K photo, and a microphone input. The G100 uses Panasonic's 49-point autofocusing system with face detection, and it offers the 4K live crop feature, which creates digital pans or zooms in camera, along with Panasonic's full suite of famous black and white filters for outstanding black and white images. But crucially, it debuts a groundbreaking directional microphone system called Ozo Audio, which produces class-leading audio quality for an in-camera microphone. And the camera is ideally suited for those wanting to document experiences without worrying about external microphones. Overall, Panasonic's G100 is an excellent hybrid camera for both stills and videos, and being explicitly designed this way, it's equally capable in both regards, yet it remains remarkably light and compact, all without skimping out on functionality. Coming in at number 9, Panasonic's G7. Panasonic's G7 is easily their most popular release and the backbone of the entire G series. Released in 2015, it features a 16 megapixel sensor, the Venus 9 processor, 4K 30 frames per second video, 1080p 60 frames per second video, a fully articulating touchscreen, time-lapse, panorama, and a microphone input. The G7 uses Panasonic's 49-point autofocusing system, which also has face detection, a similar setup as the flagship GH4 and the newly released G100 mentioned previously, but it also obtains several high-end continuous shooting modes that make it the ideal option for capturing sports in action. In this case, it shoots 8 frames per second natively, but you can turn things up to 30 frames per second using the 4K burst mode, then extract 8 megapixel images after the fact. And given how important timing is to capture the perfect moment, these speeds make it an afterthought. Plus, it even has the post-focus simulation mode, which lets you shoot with confidence knowing you can also change the focus later. Overall, Panasonic's G7 is the miniature GH4, sure, with many of its high-end features, and as such, it's an excellent option for beginners wanting a competitive hybrid camera for both stills and videos. Coming in at number 8, Canon's EOS M200. Canon's EOS M200 is their latest entry-level beginner camera and the most affordable mirrorless option to date. Released in 2019, it features a 24-megapixel sensor, the Digic 8 processor, 4K 24 frames per second video, 1080p 60 frames per second video, a tilting touchscreen, HDR, time-lapse, and vertical video. The EOS M200 uses Canon's 143-point autofocusing system with dual-pixel CMOS AF, along with both face and eye detection. And its new Digic 8 image processor brings 4K video to the lineup, far outpacing the EOS M100, which only offers 1080p by contrast. Canon's even added vertical video so you can shoot vertically for easy sharing on social media, all without the need for editing. Overall, Canon's EOS M200 delivers a brilliant sensor and autofocusing combination into a palm-sized package, and one that easily rivals the higher-end 80D with a fraction of its price. But given its smartphone-level simplicity, it's a much stronger option for beginners looking for a take-anywhere camera. Coming in at number 7, Nikon's D5600. Nikon's D5600 is their more advanced mid-range option in their current lineup. Released in 2017, it features a 24-megapixel sensor, the X-Speed 4 processor, 1080p 60 frames per second video, a fully articulating touchscreen, time-lapse, and a microphone input. The D5600 uses Nikon's 39-point autofocusing system with 9 higher-end cross-type points, which increase accuracy. Nikon also removed the anti-aliasing filter surrounding the sensor, which noticeably improves overall image quality. And unlike their more straightforward D3000 line, this range provides a fully articulating screen, which offers superior versatility, and it also combines brilliantly with Nikon's excellent touch interface, creating a supremely easy to use and intuitive camera. Overall, Nikon's D5600 is straightforward, sure, but it's not basic. It adds several advanced features and functionality over its predecessor, the D5500, and it's ideal for enthusiasts looking for long-term growth, but not outlandishly so that'll overwhelm beginners. Coming in at number 6, Canon's EOS M50. Canon's EOS M50 was their first dedicated camera aimed towards beginners wanting to shoot both stills and videos. Released in 2018, it features a 24-megapixel sensor, the Digic 8 image processor, 4K 24 frames per second video, 1080p 60 frames per second video, a fully articulating touchscreen, digital stabilization, time-lapse, and a microphone input. The EOS M50 uses Canon's 99-point autofocusing system, but it also receives their acclaimed dual-pixel AF technology with similar performance to the higher-end 80D. However, it now has eye detection to increase accuracy when shooting portraits, and it was the first Canon camera to offer this particular feature. Additionally, the M50 was the first camera in the EOS M range to debut a fully articulating screen, which is invaluable when shooting at awkward angles. Yet, at only 351 grams body alone, it's small enough to easily fit into a medium-sized cargo pocket. Overall, Canon's EOS M50 is small, sure, but it matches much of the higher-end 80D in performance, and it remains the most capable mirrorless camera below the EOS M6 range. Coming in at number 5, Canon's SL3. Canon's SL3 is their latest super lightweight DSLR. Released in 2019, it features a 24-megapixel sensor, the Digic 8 image processor, 4K 24 frames per second video, 1080p 60 frames per second video, a fully articulating touchscreen, HDR, time-lapse, digital stabilization, and a microphone input. The SL3 uses Canon's 9-point autofocusing system, but it also receives their high-end dual-pixel CMOS AF technology. Additionally, it gets digital image stabilization when shooting videos to reduce shake, and the 4K frame grab option to pull photos from movies or time-lapse videos. But where this camera ultimately shines is in size. At 402 grams body alone, it is the smallest and lightest DSLR to date, but it maintains a class-leading battery life of 1630 shots per charge, so you can shoot virtually endlessly without ever worrying about recharging. Overall, Canon's SL3 improves significantly on the SL2 with a new processor, superior battery life, and 4K video, and it's a powerful DSLR given its apparent small size. Coming in at number 4, Olympus's EM10 Mark IV. The EM10 Mark IV is the company's latest release following their sale to JIP. Released in 2020, it uses a 20 megapixel sensor, cinema 4K 24 frames per second video, 1080p 120 frames per second video, a tilting touchscreen, 5-axis stabilization, multi-exposures, HDR, live composite, time-lapse, and panorama. The EM10 Mark IV uses Olympus's 121-point Imager AF system with the same software-based technologies from the flagship EM1 Mark III. Olympus has also redesigned the sensor with this new model, which is quite similar to their higher-end Pen F, and this change dramatically improves the overall image quality compared to its predecessor's outgoing 16-megapixel sensor by contrast. And with its 16 art filters, images are sharp and highly unique. But crucially, the EM10 is one of few cameras in the entry-level segment that provides a stabilized sensor, and it helps compensate for shaking hands to help maintain sharp images when shooting in lower light situations. Overall, the EM10 Mark IV obtains several high-end professional-grade features, but it also maintains the attractive entry-level price point, and it's a powerful option in this segment that's both capable and stylish. Coming in at number 3, Fujifilm's X-T200. Fujifilm's X-T200 is their latest mid-range camera to sit just above the entry-level X-A7. Released in 2020, it features a 24-megapixel sensor, 4K 30 frames per second video, 1080p 60 frames per second video, a fully articulating touchscreen, HDR movie, time-lapse, digital stabilization, and a microphone input. The X-T200 uses Fuji's high-end 425-point autofocusing system, which offers both face and eye detection. It also has the new high-speed movie mode, which records super slow-motion videos up to 120 frames per second in full HD. Additionally, it offers two HDR modes, one for stills and the other for videos, both combining the results in camera to preserve details. But easily its key selling feature is the color science and historic color rendering, which gives its images a unique appeal, challenging to replicate otherwise. Plus, it offers the rare option of converting the USB-C port into a headphone output, making it a better option as a hybrid shooter for recording video. Overall, Fujifilm's X-T200 is a substantial update to the X-T100. It offers superior autofocusing, better processing, real 4K video, a new screen, and while it's technically a beginner's camera, it's powerful enough to give mid-range professional models some stiff competition. Coming in at number 2, Sony's a6000. Sony's a6000 was a groundbreaking release to initiate this entire lineup. Released in 2014, it features a 24-megapixel sensor, the Bionz X image processor, 1080p 60 frames per second video, a tilting screen, HDR, and the clear image zoom. The Sony a6000 was the first camera to debut Sony's new 179-point hybrid AF system with 4D focus, and it was an industry-setting configuration during its time, admired for its precision, speed, and consistency compared to traditional systems. Yet at only 285 grams body alone, the camera is extraordinarily lightweight and compact, but it still maintains strong continuous shooting speeds of 11 frames per second and access to Sony's enormous lens ecosystem and full third-party support. Overall, Sony's a6000 was the camera that persuaded many to initially leap to mirrorless, ditching their bulky DSLRs long before it became popular. And despite its age, it remains a popular camera today with ample technical ability to meet a beginner's needs. Coming in at number 1, Nikon's D3500. Nikon's D3500 is their latest entry-level DSLR camera aimed squarely at beginners. Released in 2018, it features a 24-megapixel sensor, the XP4 processor, 1080p 60 frames per second video, and Bluetooth connectivity. The D3500 uses Nikon's 11-point autofocusing system with 3D and dynamic tracking, a combination Nikon typically reserves for their higher-end DSLRs. These allow the camera's autofocusing points to work together, dramatically increasing overall precision. But crucially, this camera is one of few entry-level DSLRs that lacks an anti-aliasing filter on the sensor, which noticeably improves image quality. And it gives the camera resolving power that virtually matches Nikon's flagship D500, yet the camera still manages to provide a class-leading battery life of 1,550 shots per charge. Overall, while Nikon's D3500 is even more straightforward than their mid-range D5600, it remains a fan favorite. And given its extraordinary battery life, comfortable ergonomics, and powerful sensor, it makes sense why. As a package, it's an excellent option for beginners and a bargain in Nikon's current entry-level lineup. So, there you have it, my friends. There is our list of the top 10 best cameras for beginners. For more information on this list, look at the pinned comment and description down below, and that will take you right to the full post. There you can also see the comprehensive guide on what factors to consider when looking at beginners' cameras. I've been your host, Devaun Lennox. We will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you found the contents of today's video insightful and it added value to you. If you're new here, please consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Also, leave us a like and a comment in the description down below. Let us know if we overlooked something or we missed something that we covered in today's video. I've been your host, Devaun Lennox. PhotographyPX.com.